No place aptly captures the phrase citadel of learning better than a school, because there learning is expected to be given priority. It therefore becomes worrisome when vices like cultism, bullying, homosexualism become routine among secondary school students who make inducting other students their preoccupation instead of their studies. In most cases, refusal to join exposes such students to grievous punishment, which sometimes results in the loss of life, sadly. Such is the now trending case of Sylvester Oromoni, which is just one out of many cases in schools across the country. The case in point raises pertinent questions like, how secured are students in schools, and what manner of relationship exists between the school authorities and these students? Well, Nigeria Today will be talking about child protection in schools with a guest already seated to dissect the issues. I'm Lydia Ojijochi. Welcome to the program. We have in the studio Amechi Osuji. I thought that name belongs to only men, but here's a lady bearing Amechi Osuji. She's the principal, Pesetas College Uye. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We hope in the course of the program we can join Yahaya Musa Mohammed, Chairman, FCT Secondary Education Board and former Chairman, Abaji Area Council. Now, Amechi, you already know we're talking about child protection in schools. How protected and secure are students in schools today?
Thank you. Good evening, viewers. I am happy to be here. I will look at the current event happening in the country right now, though it calls for concern by every stakeholder involved in the industry, in the educational sector. It calls for concern. Children are secured, but with the trends happening now, I would say that we will not say 100% now that what used to be obtained in time past is what we have today. With the rising cases of violence in secondary school, very unfortunate, and in our society today, especially by children under the age of 18, I would say we should reconsider the safety of our children. I really would want to say that schools are secure, but what's going on, I would like to first examine the causes, the problems around, this particular safety of children in schools before I finally would say if children are secure. Where I'm coming from, children are secure, but I cannot say in the nation right now that there's 100% safety of children. Because when I consider what's going on, especially with the case on, in the making the rounds in the social media and everywhere in the country right now, I would say that as a stakeholder in education, we should reconsider the safety of children. And I also want to know, really address the issue and say to myself, are children really secure in our schools? There are schools I know that children are secure in, but generally, I should like to reconsider that.
Okay, now, we're not talking about security from the outside. We're not talking about school abductions, how children are abducted and taken, and then ransom is demanded from the bandits or terrorists. Now, we're talking about security in the school, within the school walls. That's what our focus is now, especially talking about bullying in schools. How safe are children in the hands of their seniors in the schools, in today's schools?
I'll be speaking from a general perspective, and that will make me say that some children are not safe in some schools. They are not safe. Honestly speaking, we have to actually go into schools. We have to set up measures. We have to set up procedures to examine the safety of children. Children are not safe. Look at what happened just recently. You know, everybody knows what happened to Sylvester. Unfortunately, a young boy of 12 years old who lost his life, all because a set of children who maybe have had too much exposure to the media, too much exposure to violent movies, movies that have reshaped their lives negatively. I know children to be very innocent. I know children to be very loving, pure, chaste. I know children to be very caring. Now, to have a scenario where a child was, you know, maltreated to the extent that that child
Brutalized.
had to lose his life, brutalized. I really say that the government, the school owners, parents, teachers, and the children themselves have to be re-educated. We teach children physics, they learn, we teach them education, you know, we educate them, we teach them how to read and write. But then we need to teach them to be more loving. We need to teach children to be more caring, to be more humane, to show love to one another. I think it boils down to the kind of training we give to our children from the homes, from our different homes. What do we tell these children? Do we tell them to love one another? Do we tell them the value of life? Having educated them, do we also tell them to have regards for human life, to love one another? Because it doesn't matter your class. You can be in the senior secondary school, you can be in the junior secondary school. You must show love. Seniors must show love to their juniors. The world is a small place. You can't tell where you will see a child or you come across someone you have brutalized, maltreated, bullied in school. I don't know where children are getting this from, sincerely. So we have a lot of work to do. And like I said, we have to go back to the drawing board and think of measures, how we can, you know, curtail some of these excesses by our children. Our African children are not known for such.
You know, the issue of Sylvester Oromini really brings out the pain in Nigerians. Nobody will see that story and just it's not easy. You just shed a tear. Now, in the social media, there are several videos out there of students recording horrible things going on in this hostel. Now, should they even be allowed to come into the school with handsets? What is going on in our schools today? What can you say about that?
Children are not supposed to be in school with phones. We'll talk about phones, and it's sad to note that a secondary school child will have access to a smartphone. Not just a smartphone that has a lot of damaging content. Apps that children don't need. Nobody's supervising them. Where we don't supervise children, why do we give them smartphones to take to school? Phones are not allowed in school. What would a child be doing with phones in school? So from the basics, a child ought not to even come to school with a phone. You see them recording these things. It's the fault of the school. The school must put measures in place. Okay, I said it has to start with parents, and I still believe it boils down to the kind of training parents give to their children. True. For God's sake, it's about time we started the training of our children the proper way. It's the right time we begin to teach these children what should be. If a phone is not a bad thing for a child to have, if he must have a phone, he should have phones to do research in case he wants to do assignments. Sometimes restrict children to laptops. Even laptops have damaging content that are not censored. Children go to sites, some things pop up, and out of curiosity they want to see what the content is all about. But we parents must be on ground to censor, monitor, educate, train, discipline children when they are found doing such. Children recording things, events in school, and posting such on online, social media for people to see. What kind of adults are we talking about? What kind of adults will they be tomorrow? What kind of what kind of future are we presenting to them? What kind of future will they present to us when we become very old and feeble? So we must train our children. Phones should not be allowed in school. It's a no-no for schools. School owners, considering what has happened now, must not allow children to bring phones to school. Where they must bring phones, it must be for educational purposes, and it should be censored.
Okay, now let's talk about bullying and cultism, which has been in schools, talking about even primary and secondary schools for long. And many innocent students have been unwittingly co-opted. Does this mean school authorities maybe just, not, I can't say they encourage, but probably just turn the other eye that this is happening in their premises?
School authorities are parents, you know, they are parent representatives. When children leave homes to come to school, from the time they, you know, come into the school till the time they leave, the school is responsible for their safety, their well-being, their education, and every other activity that happens in the school. So when we have cultism springing up among secondary school, it means that the school itself is not doing its job, it's not performing its duty of making sure that these children are trained, they are brought up to, you know, accomplish their aims and objectives of pursuing their educational careers. So a school that does not know or knows and decides to turn a blind eye to cultism is only helping the future, helping in the destruction of the future of children. You know, there are signs, there are activities that a school owner will see, the teachers will observe, you know, the school management may see, even the children will see, and they will know that these activities are wrong. How would a primary school, secondary school pupils and students be involved in cultism? These are activities that are in time past unheard of in secondary schools, and now I hear of primary schools. It is sad. So school owners must first define their goals and their objectives. Let their vision and mission be clearly stated. You have orientations in schools. Orientations help to, set a standard for children to follow, educate them about the school's principles and policies, and also help these children to follow through. You are not just taking money, you don't just collect money as a school. You also help to build the nation. Every school is a nation builder. You build the nation, you prepare children for the future. So no school owner, no teacher, no headmistress or principal should look the other way when you notice strange activities happening amongst children. You must caution, expel if you need to expel, take them out of school if you need to, report if you need to report. You are not malicious, you're training the child, and a child corrected early can always change. They are children.
Yes, like you said earlier, these children, your parents pay school fees, some as much as 3 million, and according to some parents, they should put in or install CCTV to monitor what's going on in the schools. Well, in the case of bullying, different cases have shown that some of the students report to some officials in the school, but nothing is done. And they call it snitching. That's you go and you tell on me, and then they now come back to the child. Is such a child protected?
I'm coming from, I always tell children that you have to stand up to any bully. And pace setters will teach you to be disciplined. And I am grateful for the children there. Generally, I would say that children must be taught. When children have confidence in the school system, when they have confidence in their teachers, when they have confidence in their parents, they will be able to tell their parents things. Sometimes you see a child who has confidence in the school authority telling the school authority what's going on, because the school would have trained them to the extent that they open up and tell the school, this is what I observed, this is what somebody is telling me to do, I know this is bad, especially for children that have had very sound upbringing, children who have very good upbringing. Even those who don't have, when they get to a school, because of the orientation you give to them, they learn to speak up. When children don't talk, when children learn to hide, the one that is snitching, in quote, will tomorrow be the bigger bully. So children should be allowed to speak out. They should be able to say what's going on. Where there is love, you've shown love, you've trained them, you've told them what is bad, they have been told that these things are bad. So when somebody is trying to, indoctrinate them, push them into what is not right, they tell you, excuse me, ma'am, this person did this to me. Then you take it up. Once that is done, children will have confidence in the system, and what is snitching is it will be out of the school system.
Okay. Now, there's still so much, such a sensitive topic, We'll talk more when we come back after this break. Don't go away.
This is NTA News 24 broadcasting from Abuja. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the following platforms. For more information, log on to our website www.nta.ng or join us on our social media handles, Facebook at NTA News 24.
For comments, suggestions and inquiries, send an email to news24@nta.gov.ng or call us on the following numbers.
NTA News 24,
news and more news.
Welcome back. The program is Nigeria Today, and we're discussing child protection in schools. We still have Amechi Osuji, Principal Pesetas College, Uye, and she still has more to tell us now. When you say a school is secured and conducive for learning, what should the school possess?
Okay. When we say that a school is secure and conducive for learning, besides the physical facilities in the school that make it easier for children to stay in the school, learn comfortably, we should talk about the emotional well-being of that school. Is it healthy enough? Because you have beautiful buildings, but you have unhealthy environment. Are the teachers happy? Is the principal happy? Are all the members of staff happy? Do they exude happiness when they, deal with children? Are these children carefully selected? So when we say a secure environment, we should look beyond the physical facilities, beautiful environment, the fully air-conditioned classrooms. We must look at the mental health of the children in the school. Are they balanced? Do they do things, are they on certain medications or drugs that affect their mental well-being? So we should now be looking at the mental well-being, physical and emotional health of an environment to decide if the environment is conducive or secure. Yes, recently I should believe most schools embarked on total security in school, providing policemen, CCTV cameras, having a lot of security gadgets to monitor children. But the major players there, when you talk about security, are the children inside. And like was mentioned earlier, today we're not talking about security in terms of external forces. We're talking about security inside the school. So we should start thinking about the mental well-being of our children. The facilities are fine. We should secure them, provide protection from all stakeholders in the school system for these children to be secured.
Okay, with the existence of these vices like bullying, cultism, and the like, does it not reflect a breakdown of values and morals in schools and probably in homes?
It does. It does. In fact, it starts with the home. We are looking at what our parents are doing these days. What kind of trainings are they giving to children? When children come to school, the first teachers of every child are the parents. The parents are the first teachers of children. They teach them values. Where these values are absent, or this practice of training from the home is absent, you find children misbehaving when they leave their homes. The school can help correct to a very large extent. If you have a good school, no matter where the child is coming from, whether a broken home, homes where parents don't have time for children to teach them the values that we have cherished over the years, where we don't have tight monitoring at home. When children get to school, it's now the duty of the school to try to identify these lapses, take these lapses back to the parents. And the time that we are in now is one that calls for active participation of all the stakeholders, the parents, the school, the government, and everyone involved in the upbringing of a child. So we should now be thinking sincerely of how we are going to all work together to ensure that we help our children overcome whatever challenge they are experiencing right now, whatever makes them become violent, physically aggressive in manners, in conduct, and in words. let's begin to look into this.
Yes, I actually came across something in the social media this evening, and I was quite impressed. This happened in the Western world, where a child of a 10-year-old girl bullied her schoolmate in the school bus, and because of that, she was stopped from using the school bus. And the father, in order to teach the daughter, a lesson, made her walk to school 5 miles. I think that was a very good thing he did there, to teach her a lesson that going to the school in the bus is not a right, it's a privilege. And so now, what measures should be put in place to check bullying in our schools?
Okay, to start with, parents should be actively involved in the decision making of schools, actively, in terms of first monitoring their children, educating their children, teaching them love, giving them those values that they need to adapt well in their society. The school will now have to set up measures, tight monitoring, security of children under their custody. When children come to school, they should not be left on their own. In classrooms, monitor them, employ more security personnel to move around, notice what is wrong with the children and report immediately. The schools should also not hesitate to deboard. A school does not owe any parent any explanation when a child has done something wrong without, before correcting that child. Correct the child immediately. And if you need to send the child back to their parent, please do. It is not hatred, it's not bad. It only means that the child should be corrected. The child should be trained more before he or she comes to the society. So the school now should ensure that they monitor these children. They are in our custody for schools. They, speaking from the school angle, the children are under our care and our custody. So it's our duty, our sole responsibility to make sure that we protect the vulnerable ones, the strong ones, the good ones, the bad ones. And where a bad child, after much counseling, is not doing so well, no child is actually bad, but where a child is erring, an erring child, it refuses to change, then you take another measure. Please, for the safety of others, if you need to expel the child, expel that child. You have a lot of advantages to that.
Okay, now a final question. Now, what advice or words of encouragement do you have for parents out there who have children in boarding schools, especially after this incident?
Yes, with this incident, the concern is now the boarding school. Is it safe? A lot of questions have been asked. How safe are the boarding houses today? How safe are children who are in the boarding houses and all? Our parents, we are talking about making the boarding house safe. It should be safe for everyone. Be safe for the children. I would not say that boarding house should be taken out completely. It is still a safe place if the school does what is right. It's a place, the boarding house is a place where children can come, learn discipline, learn organization, learn a lot of things away from homes. And also it could help children to adapt without their parents. So the boarding house is still safe. It's safe for children. Children can come into the boarding house, but the authorities of the boarding house must make it conducive. Please make it conducive for the children.
Yes, let the schools be conducive and safe for the children so we don't have another case of Sylvester Oromeni. May his soul rest in peace. That's it on the program, Nigeria Today, with a discussion centered on child protection in schools, and we really appreciate Amechi Osuji, Principal, Pesetas College Wuye. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you joining us for Nigeria Today. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for another edition. I am Lydia Ojijochi. Good evening.